Hello guys and welcome back to Princess Pudding Plays. Since I liked my speed build video that I did for the band jazz area, I decided that I wanted to do it again. So here we are doing it again. I hope you guys like this one as much as you liked the last one. Let's get right into it. Hi guys, so let's dive right in. I understand that while the agrabah that I want to reflect from the Aladdin movie and Egyptian culture is separate, I did mesh them together since there really isn't Aladdin items in the game. So that's just a little disclaimer that I'm putting in the beginning. But a lot of the Egyptian items were really cool, so I wanted to find a way to incorporate them into my island, and I thought that this would be a really nice way to do that. So first I'm reincorporating the tiered waterfall idea that I had in my entryway before. But because I had two different waterfalls in my entryway, I just thought that's super annoying. I'm not going to do two waterfalls. So I destroyed it and made that into my cataloging area. And now I'm going to make the tiered waterfall here. And of course I couldn't resist popping a balloon. I haven't really collected many of the craftable Christmas or Toy Day recipes, except for the tree that goes on the table and then the Christmas rug. But I haven't gotten anything else, so trying to get more of those. But I realized that it wasn't even, so I'm going back and making it even. Yep. And then I'm going to bring out the tiered waterfall out to the right. And then I kind of wanted to keep it smaller, so I tried to make it work the way it is now. But then I realized having just one waterfall on the top tier just didn't look right. Although I don't really want a ton of waterfalls since they're super noisy. And while I think they're incredibly beautiful, they just really aren't all that creative. Like, I don't want to have to rely on something that's already pretty in the game. I want to create something pretty. So this is me going home because I need to get gold in order to make the King Tut mask. Because like before, I had the fish globe on the top of my pyramid, but then I decided for my miniature agrabah / Egypt, I guess. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. I guess I would call it my Desert Africa. But I decided for my Desert Africa, instead of having a fish globe, I'm going to have a King Tut mask. And of course, I'm going to clear out my inventory right now to free up some space to pick up all of the items that we have put out on the beach right now. Gonna make our way back to our construction site. If you guys are enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And then let me know down in the comments below what you guys suggest. I definitely am always taking suggestions. I definitely want to know what you guys think. So we're placing the King Tut mask, and then I'm realizing I don't have any room if I leave the tiered waterfall. If I keep one block off of the length of it, then I'm not going to have enough room to put a waterfall on each side of the top tier, like I was saying before. So I decided to go ahead and carve out the cliffs either side to make room to push it out one more block, I guess. I don't know what to really call it. I call it block. So I'm going to push out the tiers, both the top and the bottom tier out one more to make room so I can have all 4 waterfalls on each side of my tier. Just going to go back up and do that again. And then we're going to go up there and we're going to place the King Tut mask in the middle and then put the waterfall on each side. I really do love the way this tiered waterfall looks. It's definitely not my idea. I'm not sure who created it first, so I don't know who to give credit to. But I've seen this 500,000 times over, and I love the way it looked, so I'm adding it. I would recommend that if you want to put something at the top of your tier, like I did, to definitely have it ahead of time, along with all the other 4 spots that are up there. Definitely have those things ahead of time, because you're going to have to go back up there and destroy the waterfalls and make them again, like I'm about to have to do, because I do like going back and forth to see what would look best and how things feel. It definitely isn't the most convenient though. So I would definitely recommend having all of the things that you want first. Nice, iron nuggets. So then I just need to look around and find my floor lighting that I want to put up there. Or a different like decorative item to put up there. I decided that gold roses are gonna look really good next to the mask, and then yeah, I'm gonna pick up my floor lighting because I like the way it looks on the tiered waterfall at night. It looks super pretty. And then of course I'm going, like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and destroy waterfalls and build them again in order to place these things. And then in order to put the gold roses, well, I could plant them directly onto the snow, or if it's spring or summer, grass, but I really don't like doing that, so I just don't. I definitely don't like doing that. I like having a dirt path, either the dark dirt path or the regular dirt path down first. I think it just makes it look like an established flower bed. It looks like you've done it on purpose. And then I decided, because when you go to look up, a lot of things cover up each other, so when you're placing things up on a cliff top, especially one that you're not going to be able to get up to, that is just for looking at, definitely keep that in mind with heights of things, because even these gold roses would cover up some of the Tut mask, depending on the angle that you're looking at this, just because of the height that they have to them. So to avoid that and to make a more dimensioned look, I put the gold roses in the back on both layers and the floor lighting in the front on both layers. While the floor lighting obviously doesn't need dirt under it either, I just think it makes the look more cohesive. And even the King Tut mask, I think it just looks better under sand than it would on grass or snow, because that just doesn't, make sense when it snows, or when grass grows, it doesn't grow under things. Like when you move something that's been in the grass for a while, like there's no grass there. So it just makes sense to me to not have grass or snow there, since naturally that's not how it would occur. I don't know. I just think it looks good that way. And then yes, placing the gold roses on the back 2 rows of each tier. And then going back and making the waterfalls again. And then boom, it's all done. But now, because I did not put a waterfall on that very back row. Since you're not going to be able to walk through this, since I'm going to fill it all up with water, I'm going to have like a moat around this tiered waterfall. I don't really need a waterfall in the very back. It would really just create more noise, and you can't see it. I just don't want it to be so freaking noisy, because they are ridiculously noisy. I looked at maybe having a little leap sort of aspect to it, because I hate having this all just filled up with water and not being able to have access to it. But then again, it also doesn't really make sense to have a leap path, because it's not really, you're not being led to anything. Maybe I will in the future, but right now it just doesn't really make any sense. So yeah, I'm just gonna fill it all up with water, and then I was thinking about maybe leaving those 2 sides open and placing hieroglyphs in front to make it look like a wall. But then I thought that just doesn't really make sense. It is a tiered waterfall. Waterfalls don't have walls. So I ended up taking those away. I didn't really like the way they looked. And then I decided that I should have water throughout the entire thing and just have a full-on moat. And then I didn't really like the way the back of it looked. If you know what I mean, the back behind the tiered waterfall. But again, I want to avoid putting more waterfalls than I need, because then it just creates way too much noise. So I'm going to eventually hop up there and put waterfalls on either side that you can see from this lower level, just to make it look like a complete sunken in waterfall, like the water has come from somewhere to make this. So yeah, here I am. If you didn't know what I meant before, this is what I meant, was going to these back 2 pieces and making it a waterfall. I think it looks much nicer like that. And then I need to figure out where I would like to put Lucky and Anka. So before I had Lucky kind of buried underneath and behind Anka, because he is a mummy. He's supposed to represent, you know, the dead pharaohs and queens of the past. And so I just felt it was logical to place him under and behind. But then again, you know, he's a villager as well. Anka is not any more or less important than Lucky, so I think it's important to, you know, also put that they're equal. So I'm not going to have him behind, or I never planned to have him behind Anka, but I was going to put Anka up on this platform. But as I continue and I go to place Lucky's house, I realize he doesn't really have any room. So this platform doesn't end up working for Anka's house, but you guys are going to see what I did with it instead. But Lucky's house is placed on the right side of this cliff, that is closest to the beach, because I make the beach into a pharaoh's graveyard in the second part video that's going to be posted tomorrow. So he still has that connection to the graveyard while still being near Anka. So yeah, Lucky isn't really left with a lot of room, and I think it's important that the houses have space because I want them to kind of have their own yards that expresses their personalities. And I was like, well, maybe I'll place it over here. But then, yeah, no, I had the idea to place him on the right side, closest to where the pharaohs are going to lie. And of course I can't help myself, I must pop another balloon. I've never been really good at popping them, but recently I've gotten much better just because I'm desperate for them DIYs. I paused there for a minute because at the time I couldn't think of what to put on that platform instead, because I did want to have another layer to this cliffside. I didn't want just the tiered waterfall to make it to this second level of cliff. So here I am trying to find the pyramid to put up there because I got inspiration from another photo where I saw that the pyramid is a perfect 3x3 and it fits on the cliff side so perfectly that you can actually trim it to fit the pyramid perfectly. And I think it looks really cool because I don't think there's any other item in the game, or none that I know of, that do that. So we're about to go place the pyramid up on that cliff and then trim away all the excess. Because, it's so perfect. It looks amazing. I did struggle. I did think maybe I was going to leave some space up there to put floor lighting, but I ultimately think that it's best because of how unique it looks just all by itself to keep it that way, and just have floor lighting below it. Here's me struggling so hard. I love doing landscaping or construction, terraforming, whatever you call it. I love doing it. I love the end results of doing it, but the actual process itself just doesn't really have a lot of, what do they call it in gaming? Quality of life. It's just not very convenient. In fact, it's most of the time it's pretty much a hassle. But yes, trimming away the rest of that excess because I changed my mind and decided Lucky's gonna be there on the right and Anka's going to be over on the left. I'm going to fill this backspace up with flowers because spaces like this easily go unnoticed and fill up with weeds, and I don't like that. So in order to keep it low maintenance, I just put flowers and then I'll put something around the flowers to keep them from growing. Whether it's fencing or pathing that they can't grow onto. I think flowers is an excellent way to fill blank spaces since pathing shows up on map and I don't like my map looking too busy. And then fencing, like sure I could put fencing behind there, but I think it just kind of looks awkward. So I'm placing hieroglyph simple panels in front of the pyramid, but then I was like, ugh, if you pan down, you can just see the top of the pyramid, and I don't like that either. So I didn't like that, but I am going to create this fanning out effect, if you will, with the simple paneling, and I'm just going to get closer to the cliff's edge with each panel. I did run out of panels. I need to get more, but I think it looks awesome. I do maybe want to get the wedding day flowers the wedding day flower stand and put them in here. Because even though this is a desert, I want it to look somewhat vibrant. I want it to look, you know, like they have money and sophisticated art and agriculture, just like the ancient Egyptians did. And I want it to always look like it's in the fertile period because that's just when Egypt was prettiest. So I definitely want this to look like it is flourishing. And then I try to put some in the back, thinking maybe it'll create a layering effect. But I think maybe what I'll do is I'll place a cliff back there and put a hieroglyph on top of that to create a layered effect. But I don't know how I would like that next to the pyramid. I definitely want the pyramid to be the center of attention. And then I'm going to give Lucky some more space in this corner. I don't want Lucky to not have enough space. He already has less space than Anka is going to have on the left side. So, just giving him slightly more room. And building it in the corner to give him more room for a yard. Because I do want them to both have a yard. And then boom, got that placed. And then I'm gonna have to get Anka's later. But right now I need to get flowers to fill up the spaces behind the panels, because again, flowers are an amazing way to make sure weeds don't grow behind decorations. Weeds can grow everywhere, and they'll grow anywhere and everywhere if you let them. So I'm not going to let them. So just grabbing more flowers and then more decorations to kind of fill up what we've got going on up there. Since I'm not entirely sure what I want to put up there yet. I know that I want the Sphinx on either side of the cliffs. Me struggling so hard to get the other Sphinx. I have no idea where it's at. But I do want the Sphinx on either side of the cliff. I just totally missed that balloon. But I'm gonna put him on either side of this cliff because where else are you gonna put a Sphinx? So I totally recognize that Egypt and Agrabah are not the same, but come on, these items are so freaking cool. Even in my, I ended up combining China and Japan because this is a Japanese, well, originally it's a Japanese game that's adapted to the rest of the world. So, of course, it's very inclusive to their culture, but I often find that there isn't a ton of Chinese items, so, and a lot of the Japanese items are super freaking cool, so I ended up just combining the two when I made that other area, because like I said before, I want my island to be themed after the Disney Epcot park, and so I have to kind of think about what movies they have, and there's the movie Mulan, which is Chinese, but I still wanted to use Japanese items. So I ended up just combining the two and making a little Asia. So yeah, again, I completely understand they're separate cultures, but it's in a game that's kind of limited in the way that Animal Crossing is. You kind of have to work with what you got. And then I didn't mean to sit down, but I did mean to do that. And then we're going to put the flowers back here like I mentioned before, to ensure no weeds are going to grow back here, because I absolutely loathe when that happens. It honestly doesn't really matter what flowers you put back there, because even if someone like kind of sees them, they're flowers, they're pretty, it'll be okay. But that's just about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.